But a lady Maxine normally comes, and she's asked specifically, are we running this today? I said, yes. Maybe she's messaged.
Doesn't this get a lot of...
Publicity.
No. This was busy, let's keep this. Really busy.
Last
If I remember.
time it happened, yeah.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm thinking of Happy Life.
Right.
So this is only a monthly thing, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is. Normally you get people staying over, like yourself and Joe and the two, Helen and Tammy. You know these young ladies.
Well, you know where I'm working is.
Okay.
I'll have to tell Joe. I'll tell Joe. Joe, advice for a happy life happens every 10 o'clock every Sunday. But this is where peace is. This only happened every. I don't think we're going to get anyone. It's next past. But you can start it on and I'll do the door if anybody.
It's okay.
Do you need
What if?
water?
No, fine. Thanks.
Do you need anything?
Enlightenment.
No. I'll bless you with that later.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so here we are again. So we're online, camera's on, we're live. Sorry for the late start, but that's okay. We're going to be doing Prayers for World Peace. So without further ado, I think we'll just go straight into liberating prayer. And then we'll do the meditation. Now the meditation is what we call black and white breathing meditation. Okay, so this is a purification meditation. Okay, where we imagine we're breathing out all our difficulties, all our problems, and all our negativities. Okay, so I'll guide you through it. We breathe all these out, and we've literally got to imagine they've gone. This has actually happened. Okay, because if we believe it hasn't happened, it hasn't. But if we believe it has, it has. All gone. Okay, for that moment in time, all our negativities have gone. So we're pure, we're completely pure. Well, not quite, because as we breathe, we're going to change. Having expelled our negativities, we're then going to breathe in positivity, pure, white, brilliant light. The essence of all positivity. And that is completely pure. And then we're going to share that with all living beings. Okay, so this helps us to generate this mind of love for all living beings and the wish to share our love, our purity with everyone else. No discriminations about who we like, who we dislike. It's just equanimity, complete equanimity. We wouldn't want anyone to suffer. In fact, we want them all to be happy and pure. Okay, so that's the meditation that comes straight after the liberating prayer. And then we'll do the meditation, then we'll do the prayers themselves. Okay?
O Blessed One, Shakyamuni Buddha, precious treasury of compassion, bestower of supreme inner peace, you who love all beings without exception, are the source of happiness and goodness, and you guide us to the liberating path. Your body is a wish-fulfilling jewel. Your speech is supreme purifying nectar, and your mind is refuge for all living beings. With folded hands I turn to you, supreme unchanging friend. I request from the depths of my heart, please give me the light of your wisdom to dispel the darkness of my mind, and to heal my mental continuum. Please nourish me with your goodness, that I in turn may nourish all beings with an unceasing banquet of delight. Through your compassionate intention, your blessings and virtuous deeds, and my strong wish to rely upon you. May all suffering quickly cease, and all happiness and joy be fulfilled, and may holy Dharma flourish forevermore.
Okay, so we can now get into a comfortable position for meditation. That comes later. Okay. Comfortable position for meditation. Once again, we allow our body to relax. Just imagine all this, any stress or tension we've gathered this morning just literally melts away, flows down through our body into the floor. So now we're going to expel all our negativities. So we can imagine that at our heart, our spiritual heart, in the center of our chest, all our delusions, all our negative minds, and all our fears, problems, worries, concerns, gather together at our heart. All our selfish minds, our minds of irritation and anger, our minds of jealousy and pride, our minds of attachment to people, to places, and to things. Just imagine they all gather together at our heart. And as we breathe out, we breathe them out in the form of thick black smoke. Truly believe this is actually happening. All our negativities, imagine the smoke rises above our heads and gets blown away far into the distance, to be gone forever. So now, having expelled our negativities, we can replace this with positivity. So we imagine that as we breathe in, we're breathing in pure white, brilliant light, the essence of all positivity, representing virtuous minds. Minds of kindness and consideration. Minds of love and compassion. Minds of generosity. Minds of patience. Patient acceptance. Minds of humility. Mind of non-attachment, renunciation. Having given up all our desires for non-virtuous things. Having given up on samsara. Letting go all our attachments. So breathe these virtuous minds into our heart in the form of pure, white, brilliant light. fills our body and mind. Imagine that our body and mind become the nature of light, the nature of positivity, purity. And from our heart, light rays radiate out, filling the whole room with positive energy. Which spreads out across Liverpool, Merseyside, the whole world, crossing continents, oceans, touching the minds of all living beings, giving them our happiness, our purity, our love. Every single living being is touched by our loving kindness. Imagine the smiles on their faces, the peace in their hearts, and rejoice that we have given them this loving kindness from our heart. And in this moment, we have purified all living beings. So please hold this feeling of loving kindness for all living beings in your heart as we gently arise from meditation. Okay, so I will read the first two paragraphs. Press for World Peace, page 7. We should know that learning to cherish others is the best method for establishing world peace in general and from our own peace of mind in particular. If everyone sincerely prays to be able to cherish other living beings, then gradually, through the power of this prayer, everyone will actually cherish each other. The world will then be permanently at peace, and pure and everlasting happiness will pervade the entire world. Understanding this, we recite the following prayers while concentrating on their meaning.
To attain the supreme peace of mind, enlightenment, I make excellent offerings to the holy beings, the enlightened means of the 10 directions, and the assembly of bodhisattvas. However many flowers and fruits there are in all the different types of medicine, all the jewels there are in the world, in all the pure refreshing waters, mountains of jewels, forest groves, and quiet and joyful places, heavenly trees adorned with flowers, and trees whose branches hang with delicious fruits, scents that come from the celestial realms, incense, wish-granting trees and jewel trees, harvests that need no cultivation, and all ornaments that are suitable to be offered, lakes and pools adorned with lotuses, and the beautiful call of wild geese, everything that is unknown throughout our worlds, as extensive as space. Holding these in my mind, I offer them well to the supreme beings, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. O compassionate ones, holy objects of offering, think of me kindly and accept what I offer. With the intention to attain the ultimate supreme goal that surpasses even the wish-granting jewel, may I constantly cherish all living beings. Whenever I associate with others, may I view myself as the lowest of all, and with a pure intention, may I cherish others as supreme. Examining my mental continuum throughout all my actions, as soon as a delusion of self-cherishing develops, whereby I or others would act inappropriately, may I firmly face it unaverted. Whenever I see unfortunate beings oppressed by evil and violent suffering, may I cherish them as if I had found a rare and precious treasure. even if someone I have helped and of whom I had great hopes, nevertheless harms me intentionally. May I see him or her as my holy spiritual guide, when others out of jealousy or anger harm me or insult me. May I take defeat upon myself and offer them the victory. In short, may I directly and indirectly offer help and happiness to all my mothers, and secretly take upon myself all their harm and suffering. Furthermore, through all the above practices, together with a mind undefiled by stains of conceptions of the eight extremes, and that sees all phenomena as illusory, may I in all living beings be released from the bondage of mistaken appearance and conception.
Okay. So you may recognize that the last 8 verses are the 8 verses of the 8 steps of training the mind. So with the intention to attain the ultimate supreme goal, which is the 4th verse on page 8, that surpasses even the wish-granting jewel, may I constantly cherish all living beings. So that's what we've just been singing, these 8 verses of Training the Mind by Geshe Langri Tangpa. Beautiful. So what we're going to be concentrating on today is the I think it's the 5th verse. Great compassion. Whenever I associate with, so we've got 1, 2, the 4th verse. Whenever I associate with others. No, sorry, it's not that one. It's the 6th verse. Whenever I see unfortunate beings oppressed by evil and violent suffering, may I cherish them as if I had found a rare and precious treasure. Well, that was on page 8 in the prayers at the bottom. Yeah, page 8. Yeah, at the very bottom. So that was the... Anyway, but it's... Let me introduce it for you. So it's basically, what it is great compassion. Whenever I see unfortunate beings oppressed by evil and violent suffering, may I cherish them as if I had found a rare and precious treasure. So Geshe starts the introduction to the chapter in 8 steps, the new 8 steps to happiness, with stating, having gained some experience of cherishing all living beings, we can now extend and deepen our compassion. Well, we haven't really gained this experience of cherishing all living beings, have we? Not today. And we might have been doing it in previous meditations, in previous classes. However, what we have just done is had this meditation, this beautiful mind of equanimity that has shared our purity, our love, our peace with all living beings. We've just done that. So with this heart, this good heart of wishing love, basically, of wishing love to all living beings, we can now develop some compassion for them, for recognizing their suffering, not wishing any living being to suffer, whether we like them or not. That's the point, whether we like them or not. And whether we feel that they, by virtue of their unkindness to others, are not worthy of our compassion. Geshe-la says there's no living being that is not worthy of our compassion, that all living beings are worthy of our great compassion. Why? Because if they're causing harm to others, that's not them themselves. It is their delusions. And as Geshe-la says in his teaching, we shouldn't not get angry with the person. We should get angry with the delusion. And feel great compassion for those that are harming others. Because, why? Because they are creating the causes for the same thing to happen to them in the future. We know this through our teachings on karma. So Geshe-la points out that these people are probably more, not worthy, but they're probably more in need. That's the word. They're in need of our compassion than the one who's being oppressed rather than the oppressor. Because those who are being oppressed, when things go wrong in our life, that's our karma that we have created in previous lives coming to fruition, okay? And that's it. If we don't get angry or upset and we accept patiently as it being that's how it is, we created this, our delusions created it in the past. That's it, spent, gone. For the person who's the oppressor, who's causing harm and suffering to others, they are creating the causes for future suffering for themselves. So what we want is for the whole world, if you like, or all living beings to be free from suffering. Don't we? When you think about it. We don't want it to be partial. We want them to be free from suffering. All living beings. Not just in this life, but in future lives as well. And to think that some are creating the causes for future suffering, we're thinking, oh no. This is Buddha, isn't it? We've got to try and imagine what Buddha's thinking. He's thinking, oh. And that's why he's here. He's blessing the minds of all living beings to try and lead them out of samsara. And therefore, they are more in need of our compassion because they're perpetuating suffering. While those who have just, the oppressed, if you like, if they don't get angry and upset and wish to take revenge or, kick off, then their karma is spent. It's not going to come back again. So that's covering those who we find it difficult to develop compassion for. Another group is those who are doing better than us in our mind, the rich and the famous, maybe. They're all right. They don't need our compassion. They've got everything. Well, they do. They do, but they have got. Where did all their wealth come from? Well, it came from their karma. They have created the causes for their resources to appear in their lives, in this particular life. So that's the good thing. But in order for them to gain these resources, they've no doubt gone out with uncontrolled desire, just trying to gather more and more and more, and never being satisfied. So they're the most discontent on the planet. They wouldn't be where they are today in terms of wealth if they didn't want more and more and more. Otherwise they'd just give it away, wouldn't they? And having got it, they're then fearful of losing it. And then not only are they fearful of robbers, people who steal, they have to build walls around their homes, barbed wire and CCTV, and they're scared that someone might kidnap either them or their loved ones, their children, and so on and so forth. Not only that, but what was the other but? Not only that, but hang on. Yeah, well.
We'll wait.
Yeah, you wait. It'll come. Fine. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll read on. So that's the rich, the famous, and the those who we feel we could find it hard to develop compassion for. So, but, Geshe's saying that we've got to have universal compassion for all living beings. And we find this difficult because, it's all right feeling compassion for our friends or our family, those that we love. But do we have, do we feel compassion when somebody else is hurt or is suffering an illness? And we don't. We don't. So this is why we need not just universal compassion, but initially we need universal love. So we need to generate this mind of love for all living beings in order that we can have compassion for them. But I find that when we meditate, and Geshe says it takes us a very long time, to develop this universal compassion. Doesn't come overnight. We need to meditate on it continuously. So what I find is that once you start to feel, start taking your own loved ones first, and you start to appreciate how they're suffering. So you really go into your heart and see how they're suffering. And if they're not manifestly suffering at this moment, through either mental or physical illness, we know through our Buddhist wisdom that everyone's suffering because they're suffering pervasive, what we call pervasive suffering. In other words, they're suffering from discontent, dissatisfaction, unfulfilled wishes. They're not happy. And if they are, it's only fleeting. And they're forever chasing their desires, chasing rainbows, just like we are. So we can identify with them in this way and know that they're not happy and they're not finding true everlasting happiness. So this is what we would wish for our loved ones. And so we need to generate that first for our loved ones. And once we generate this strong wish that our nearest and dearest, we don't want them just to be free from their particular illness. Not if they've got a discontented mind, not if they've got a dissatisfied mind, not if they've got an angry mind. We want them to be totally free from all delusions, to have a completely peaceful mind. We do, don't we? And so we wish this is the mind of wishing love, wishing this on them. Okay? And then having generated it for our loved ones, we just open up the circle. We just expand those that we are thinking about. Those that we meet on a day-to-day basis, perhaps those in work, those around the centre, those who we see in the street, those we meet in the shops or see in the shops, on the roads, in other cars. These are those who pass through our lives. Most of the time we have complete indifference to them, but we can embrace them and look at them. This helps us enormously in our own mind, in our everyday lives. When you're driving along and you see someone on the pavement, walking by, and instead of thinking, I like, dislike, or indifference, you just think, they are suffering just like me. They are suffering just like me. May they have everlasting happiness and peace. Same in those who are driving past you in their cars. Because we tend to judge them, don't we? We tend to think, they're a bit aloof in their big four-wheel drive, driving like a tank. We tend to make judgments, quality judgments of whether they're our type of person or not. And then we needn't. We just think, hey, you're suffering, just like me. And I don't want anyone to suffer. Why would we want anyone to suffer? So I find compassion is a great leveler. We spend our lives building a fortress for ourselves, don't we? A fortress of values. This is me. This is what I stand for. I like this, dislike that. And people come into these pigeonholes, don't they? I like these people, don't like them, and I'm indifferent to the others. But this is just our fortress of values. We need to break this down and just see that everyone's suffering. And it's a great leveler. We're all equal. Universal love and compassion for all living beings. So Geshe says that the mind of wishing love, this mind of wishing love, which we did in the first meditation, but this mind of wishing love that wishes, that wants to give peace to all living beings, wants to give our love and peace to all living beings. That mind, in that moment, that is more powerful than feeding those that are hungry in the world, giving them meals 3 times a day. And you think, ooh, that's a bit of a questionable statement, really. But when you think about it, it's more powerful. We're changing our perception, we're changing ourselves, we're changing our perception. Giving people food, if they are hungry, it's fine. We've got to do whatever we can. But we can run around forever and a day just doing these practical things without ever really attending to our own heart and our own compassion and our own love and developing that. And once we do, the appearance of the world, what appears to our mind, will change. We'll purify our mind through universal compassion. We'll purify it, and the world that appears to it will change. Job done. No one suffering. No one hungry in the world. You think, no, that's not right. That's just in our imagination. Well, Geshe says everything comes to the imagination. How do we see the world at the moment? With our mind, our perception. And is that how it is? Well, it's different for every single living being on this planet. Everyone's perception is different. So all we have to do is purify our mind, and what appears to our mind, our perception of the world, changes. So Genla Jampa was found in this lovely video of him, and he was saying in one of his teachings, basically, pure mind, pure world. He said, there's no pure world except in the minds of living beings. A pure world can only come from a pure mind. Whew. That is so beautiful. Okay, so we'll leave it at that, and now we'll do a meditation, on this wishing love for all living beings, wishing them to be free from suffering and experience everlasting peace and happiness for all living beings. Okay, should we try? And then we'll do the dedication. So if we bring our mind inwards, and we can imagine that we're surrounded by all living beings, starting with our close karmic circle, our nearest and dearest. So bring them to mind. Forming a circle around us. Then move that circle outwards, embracing all those you know, all those that we see on a day-to-day basis. All those we have ever known. And all the rest, all living beings throughout the world, including animals. And now we can, with this pure mind of love in our hearts, wishing all living beings to be free from suffering and to experience everlasting happiness. Please think about them in this way. This mind of wishing love for all living beings to be free from their suffering and to experience everlasting happiness. When this strong feeling arises in our mind, hold on to it single-pointedly for the remainder of the meditation. we can imagine all those who are deeply suffering in this world. From sickness, malnutrition, from war, people having lost their homes, members of their family. Even lost their limbs. So much suffering in the world. Animals can't find enough to eat. Or who are treated harshly by humans. We can think of the disharmony amongst our own family and other families and wish for peace for them. Then we can gradually relax our concentration. Finish the meditation. And when we are ready, we can open our eyes. So to finish Prayers for World Peace, we need to do the dedication. So we'll just do that now.
So that the tradition of Tsongkhapa, the king of the Dharma, may flourish. May all obstacles be pacified, and may all favorable conditions abound. Through the two collections of myself and others, gathered throughout the three times, may the doctrine of Conqueror Losandratpa flourish forevermore. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows. You are Buddha, Shakyamuni, and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion. Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom. synthesis of all three jewels, with my body, speech, and mind. Respectfully, I make requests. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainments. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows. You are Buddha, Shakyamuni, and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion. Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom. And Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hosts of Maras. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three jewels, with my body, speech, and mind. Respectfully, I make requests. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainments. Tsongkhapa, crown ornament of the scholars of the land of the snows. You are Buddha, Shakyamuni, and Vajradhara, the source of all attainments. Avalokiteshvara, the treasury of unobservable compassion. Manjushri, the supreme stainless wisdom. And Vajrapani, the destroyer of the hosts of Maras. O venerable Guru Buddha, synthesis of all three jewels, with my body, speech, and mind. Respectfully, I make requests. Please grant your blessings to ripen and liberate myself and others, and bestow the common and supreme attainment.
Thank you.
It really sort of hits home. So happy now.
Yeah, we're doing the offerings now, yes?
So this is what I can do now.